What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of STL Sunday, the show where I try and teach you a little bit of CAD. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to make your own 3D printable, fully articulated scale driver that can look just like you without any super fancy tools other than a 3D printer and a little bit of CAD work. And the model we're going to be discussing is the Dummy 13. Now, this is a downloadable dummy that you can get and then print at home very easily. It's very bendy, it's fully articulatable. It can go in basically any position that is, humanly realistic. Maybe not so realistic for me, but maybe when I was, 20 years younger or something like this. But you can get this thing all the way up in the fetal position if you want. Something that can be very handy if you've got a scale interior that you really need to bend and work around. Now, you can tell he is just the base. It's not a decorated or things like that. But if that's the look you were going for, you wouldn't have to add anything else if that was, as far as you wanted to go. But there are all kinds of 3D printable accessories for these. Just about anything you can imagine as far as like different armor, which can change the look or style of the gray pieces that are on this dummy, as well as like accessories, different shoes or feet. There's 3D printable Crocs for this little thing if you want. And from there, you can then either decide to put clothes on it, which you can easily order, easily available through sites like Amazon or other places, I'm sure. But it's just a very easy, scalable figure to use. And today what we're going to do is we're going to turn this very blank looking head into something that can look like you without use of a 3D scanner. All you're going to need is your camera. That's about it. One photo from your camera at that even. Now, this idea was given to me by Cody from Colorado Adventure Club. And what we're going to be using to create the STL of your head is the Bamboo Studio Statue Maker. It just takes a single photo upload and then you're pretty much good to go. Then we're going to take it, we're going to drop it into Fusion, and we're going to do a little bit of STL modifications similar to what we did in the last episode. So let's dive into those programs first and I'll show you what we're working with. Now, this is the model of the Dummy 13. This is a native CAD file. You can actually purchase this from the designer for $5. That is all he wants for this incredible model. Now, as you can see with mine, it's got hands, but it's got all kinds of different hands you can choose from to print, depending on what you want it to be doing or working with, anything like that. Even some that are maybe the obvious choices for some people. Is an amazing little figure. Now, it is not 6 inches tall, and if you're going to a event that requires that height, you will just have to scale it up. From the base height, you can scale it up to about 115 or 120% to get over that 6-inch threshold. But since you're 3D printing all these parts on your own, that's easily done. Now, you don't have to purchase this file. You can download the STLs for free, but if you like the native CAD files to work with, $5 is a bargain for what he offers. Now, also, he allows you to print and sell these if you would like with the appropriate, attributions to his design in your listing. When you're 3D printing these at home, you basically are just going to print these two trees. You see this one here and this one here. This is the joints side of things. And you want to print this in like PETG or ABS, something with some decent properties compared to something like PLA. PLA is fine for the armor, is which they call this side of things, but they specifically say not to print this side in PLA. So it is a like snap together fit, and then it has the movement and friction as things go. It's an amazing thing to put together. It has instructions that are included as well to help aid you because there is a lot of parts. It is an impressive model. But the piece that we're most interested in is this. This is the head. It is very simple, but it's got some detail inside that is important to what we need to do today. So that is going to be the base for what we're going to work with. Now, this is the Bamboo Studio Home. And you may not have kind of explored these options on the side, but Maker Lab on the side has got a bunch of different applications that are available to you in this that can help you do all kinds of really cool things. But the one that we're most interested in is Make My Statue right here. And all you do is you click Start, and then from there, you just create a new project and upload a single photo. It tells you best practices for the types of photos that you want to do, and you just drop a single photo in there. It takes like 8 to 10 minutes to process through, and then when you're done, it will give you an STL of yourself. Now, it is a STL created off of a single photo, so it's not going to be the most accurate. It's not a 3D scan. This looks maybe something like me. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, it's good enough for what we're doing today. And for not having or needing any special equipment to accomplish this, it's worth it. So once you have this here, you can basically just download the STL or open it in the studio and then export your STL from there. And this is what that STL looks like. Now, from here, we need to kind of chop this thing up to make it work with that dummy head. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start by bringing in that head from the actual dummy 13 model. So up here, we're going to go to Insert, and then we're going to go Insert Derive, and then we're going to find the head, which is labeled Armor, comma, Head V1. It will open the file for you. You're going to select the body that you want, and then we're going to hit OK. Now the body is actually in there already. If you select it, you can see it's actually this little guy way down here. So we need to get some things scaled a little differently. And that's fine. That's what we're here to do. So this is the size that we want. So we need to make sure that we remember that. This is not the correct size. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rotate the head around so it's properly where I want. I'm going to turn on my origin first. And you can see that is right there in the middle of the head, and that's great because I prefer to work around the origin. I don't know why that it put this thing way over there. So we're going to hit M on our keyboard for move, and I'm going to select that body. I am going to move the rotation point by selecting Set Pivot. And then I'm going to just select it right there at the midpoint on that line. Now, once I've done that, I actually have to come up here and hit Done, and then I can do my movements. So I'm going to rotate this up 90 degrees, and I'm going to take a look at the left side just to see where it's at, and it's still in the center. Great. So I'm going to hit OK. I like where that's placed now. Now we can start by scaling my massive head. This is going to be a bit of an iterative process. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kind of match the positioning to the little head in there already. So I'm going to hit move again. You can hit M on the keyboard or this. And I'm going to select the body by selecting it on the left side here instead. And now I'm going to kind of just move it down. And the origin point is kind of right maybe at mouth level. So I'm going to try and just kind of roughly match that. That looks about right to me. I'm just kind of guessing at this point. Then I'm going to try and get it centered. That looks somewhat close. Now I'm going to hit OK. So now my massive head is swallowing the scale version. Fine. Now at the top, we're normally in the solid tab here. I'm going to go over to mesh because that's what this is. And I'm going to do the modify, and I'm going to go down to scale mesh. I'm going to select that again. I'm going to rotate to the side. And from here, I'm just going to drag this down to kind of what looks like a appropriately the right size. That's 2.2% the size. I'm just gonna hit OK. We're gonna move this thing again. We're gonna start zooming in, and we're still a little bit large. And while I do have an abnormally large head, I don't need to keep doing that for the sake of this video. So we're gonna scale it down once more. Scale mesh, select body, and let's go to like 0.95 maybe. I want to make sure that it's within the constraints still. I could maybe go to 0.92. Let's try that. And then I'm going to move that mesh again. We're going to go about like that, fully within the constraints of that body. I'm going to rotate to the front. And now what we can see here is that while it was properly, covered before, not so much now. So let's go negative 16.5, 7.5. That looks close. So you can see how that head is still larger. Now we don't have to completely consume the size of this, but I want to get closer than where we're at. So I'm going to go back to our scale function. And I already had the body selected over here, so that's why it shows it there. I'm going to move the point that it's scaling from by dropping down the origin and selecting O, which just means that center base point. And then I'm going to go to 1.05. That's 8% larger. I think I want to go somewhere in this range. I'm going to do one more move just to make sure that I've got it about where I want. And I think we can work with this. So we're going to hit OK. Now, we need to kind of start trimming away and getting this STL to a place where it's within the working area of this dummy model. To do that, I'm going to do a quick sketch. So I'm going to go back to the solid menu up top, and then I'm going to click Create Sketch. I'm going to just do it on the right plane, and I'm just going to kind of determine where I want to make a cut. Now, part of this is like looking at the actual model. I can see how much freedom this has in the neck movement, how far and like where the constraints are working. It's perfect in this case. This designer did such an amazing job. Anything that I kind of get into, like I go beyond the constraints that this has in the original, will limit that motion, but it is so free now, and I'm not nearly that limber, so I don't mind slightly modifying what that is. We could do a little bit of plastic surgery and get rid of some almost double chin looking action. And if we want to have more, neck showing in a 3D printed model, when it's in a car compared to like what it shows here, that would probably be okay as well. So I'm going to go with something that looks more like this. Now, we're going to hit finish, and that we just did one line. We need to create a plane to cut that model on, because one line on its own won't do. So we're going to go up to the construction menu, and we're going to go plane at angle, select that line, and now that plane is up and down. It's not what we want, so we're going to rotate that to 90 and hit OK. And now we have a plane that we can cut the head off. To do that, we're going to go back to the mesh workspace, and we're going to use the plane cut tool. Now, over on the right side, there's a couple of options that you have here. Trim is what we want to do, but we specifically want to use a fill, either a minimum or a uniform, because we want it to cut that neck off, but then put a plane back there so that we can modify and make sure that things still work. So we'll just go with minimal, because that's fine. We're going to select the body that we want to cut. We're going to select the piece that we want, or the plane that we want to cut with, and then hit OK. And now we have a floating head. Now, after making that cut, I can see that with how that body is looking and where the constraints of things are, I may need to cut more to make this really work with the clearances that this thing has. Now, it might not be totally necessary, and this could be something that could be adjusted, but I'm gonna just scale it up a little bit more just to be a little bit more on the conservative side. It's not a big deal. We can just keep messing with this as things go, but I'm going to turn off that plane by toggling the construction off just so that it's out of my way. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna do another scale mesh. So scale mesh, select that. I'm gonna change the point to the origin again like we did last time by canceling the selection first, selecting point, and then selecting the O. And we're just gonna go up to like 105 again. I'm not super happy with how it keeps getting larger and larger in this way. So I'm gonna take this back to 0, and I'm gonna go change this from uniform to non-uniform. And rather than just continuing to make the whole thing larger, I'm gonna start working in one direction at a time. So I know I need a little bit more width. So I'm gonna just kind of stretch this right arrow. Now you can see that only stretches in one dimension. So I'm gonna take that to like 110%. Then I'm gonna move the mesh again by selecting move, clicking the body, and then just dragging the arrows. And I'm gonna take a look, and now I am doing a better job of covering that up. Overall, I think that this should work. I'm gonna turn off the mesh again at this point. Now, the important parts that we need are just these inside pieces, kind of what we're worried about for tolerances. So I'm gonna do another sketch to trim some things apart. I'm gonna go back to the solid menu at the top. I'm gonna select a new sketch. I'm going to zoom out and just click that top plane. Now, just kind of looking at how everything is, I'm going to hit P for project to copy some line work over. And I'm gonna just get what I think might be the important pieces. Oops. And this might adjust as we go. I don't know yet, but just working my way all the way around. Then I'm gonna hit enter. Now I've got that line work there. I'm gonna do an offset by clicking O and then selecting all those lines. And I'm gonna go outward by, let's go negative 0.4. See how that works. I'm gonna do one more offset now, clicking O again. Now you can't select the first line and hit offset. It won't let you offset an already offset line. It's just one of the things Fusion won't let you do. So I'm going to select the inner lines, the ones that we did first again, and I'm just gonna drag this way out. -6. And that just gives me a profile that I can cut with now. So I'm gonna hit E for extrude. We're gonna select that profile that we've now created, and I'm going to drag that up and down. So if we drag that straight up, that worked that way. It trims away all of the extra. And then over here, you can either go to 2 sides, which will give you a second arrow, and then you can drag that down. Or you could have changed that to symmetric, and it would have just drug both the same distance as you were working. So let's hit OK. So now we have this insert of this section that is important. Let's see how that works with our mesh. It's in there. Perfect, right? Almost. We're not quite there. We can't see it yet. You can see there's a little bit poking out, but at this scale, I'm not that concerned, and we're also going to be doing a little bit more cutting still. So we're going to turn this back off. Now, from here, to be able to cut everything out, I want to turn that last sketch we just did back on. And what I want to do is I want to take and I want to do a new extrude. And I'm going to select the inner and the second one that we did. And I'm going to take that up to where I see it stop interacting with any of the internal features, which will be right there. And then down, we're going to do a further distance. It doesn't matter, but it needs to be longer than anything we have in our STL. We're just going to be conservative and drag it way down. Now, we're not going to do a cut. We're going to do a new body. And I'm going to hit OK. So now this is a tool that I'm going to use to modify the STL. So I can turn off the portion of the head that we brought in. I can also turn off that sketch. I can turn off both of those sketches that we had in there. I'm going to turn back on my mesh. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the mesh workspace. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to convert this tool that we made into a mesh as well so that we can interact with these two. So at the top, there's something that's called tessellate, which means it takes a solid and it makes it into all the triangles like an STL would look to you typically. So we're going to click tessellate. We're going to select that body. Refinement doesn't really matter. It could be low. This is going to be a very easy one for it to do. And we're going to hit OK. This should be quick and easy. And that's it. Now we've got two meshes. You can see over here, both of them. And now we're going to use this combine function, which we're not actually going to combine. We're going to select the head, and then we're going to select that bottom piece, and we're going to do a cut. And then we're going to hit, I'm not going to use keep tools or anything like that. We're going to hit OK. We're going to let it do some thinking. And now it has made that cut inside. So if we turn on the original body, now it is fully encompassed in there. And now that we have these two bodies interacting with each other, we don't need to combine them. You could just export these as one STL. But sometimes STLs that have inner structures and things like that can act a little funny. So if you do want, you can go in and do a tessellate again, select that trimmed inner head structure, hit OK, and then we can combine them this time, but by actually joining. So join the top to the inner structure and hit OK. And then we're going to give it a minute to think through this process again. And now we have a single STL body that somewhat resembles my head. Now, from here, you can look or work on finding accessories like hats or anything like that. And you could keep modifying, making this try and fit whatever style you want more and more. I may look for some sort of downloadable hat just since that's normally what I'm wearing. Glasses can be added right in the Maker World app if that fits your style. You can hit glasses and add glasses, and then you can just work with the size or shape or whatever style you like right in the app. Now, when you export them, they will be on that model on its own. So be aware of that. Otherwise, you can just, and you can adjust the size and the location of them in the app as well in case you wear them, I don't know, on your forehead or they need to be higher or lower down the bridge of your nose, whatever it may be. I chose not to use the glasses in the model just because it looked like a pretty big pain in the butt to print in place, at least. If anything, maybe I'll work on some, ones that are available in secondary and then add them as well. But other than looking for the extra accessories, I'm ready to finish this up, 3D print it, and have it ready to drop into one of my scale cars. And I also ordered a hoodie and sweatpants for this thing as well to work with a 6-inch size figure. So I'm going to scale this thing up to 115% and give it another print. It was a lot of fun to put together. I really enjoyed it. Thank you to Cody from Colorado Adventure Club for the tip on this thing, and the statue maker from Bamboo Labs. Hopefully this is something fun you guys can do while tinkering around at home. I'll put a link down below to the Dummy 13 files, as well as you can find the Bamboo Labs Studio. All of the apps are built right into it, and I'll put the Amazon clothes link while I'm at it. Hopefully this was a fun one for you guys. Whether or not you're putting this in a scale truck or you just want to have it for whatever purpose. Scale, photography, it's up to you. Pretty cool thing though. If you guys are enjoying STL Sunday, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already. If you're interested in channel membership, where you can see these videos sometimes a little bit early, or many of the other videos considerably earlier. Appreciate all of you guys for watching. Hit the like button again if you enjoyed it, subscribe. Thanks again, we'll see you on the next one. I went ahead and downloaded a hat, threw it on there. Happier with that.